Good evening, Buck fans. Happy Wednesday. You should be happy. The damn Bucks won a sound beating on the Commanders. So this should be a good week. I tell you, anything else can go wrong, but when the Bucks do the damn thing, I am happy. Now, if anything, I'm salivating for another win. And we're going to be discussing so many things tonight. We got guests coming in. We got to talk about the Commanders. We got to talk about the Kyle Brandt rant that he talked about on Mike Evans. We're going to be discussing one of the teams that was supposed to be winning this division that got a nice sound beating. And of course, we got to give you a little preview of what's next to come against the Detroit Lions and how we still not getting that respect. So sit your ass down, get your cannon, get your beer, get the rum, get your popcorn, get your ladies, because we about to get ready for the aftermath. That's right. That was a victory shot. Fire the cannons for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shout out to the DMV Bucks. That's where I reside. But originally 813 East Tampa, Hillsborough County, baby. What's up? Thank you guys for joining, Buck fans. Welcome to the Bucks Report, the aftermath on 102.9, the game, Broad Street South Radio. It's on one of your hosts, AJ Turnup. And of course, Slick is not here, but he is in spirit. That is Coach Slick, aka the British guy who's always fly. Shout out to him and his getting to the championship, Sandwell Steelers. We will discuss that when he comes back. But right now, again, this is a wonderful day, Buck fans. Victory week. This is victory week, and the shit is beautiful. Victory week is sweet. I love it. As D'Lo Brown said, if you know, you know. Victory sweet. And here's your receipt. I got a receipt for y'all right now.
Mayfield looks left all the way. Single coverage, one-on-one. Oh, what a catch! Mike Evans fighting through Benjamin St-Juste for a 17-yard touchdown.
Believe it or not, that shit was easy. That was easy. But let me not get ahead of myself. I love that part. I just wanted to give y'all a little teaser. We have to go somewhere. First of all, shout out to the dude for this, because this is going to be a side note. Of course, we are here to talk about the Bucs, but we got to throw this out here because it was so much glazing and slurping for this other team that we just have to show you their reaction. And shout out to the dude. Did you guys know that the dude was able to find a picture of a certain fan for the Falcons? We're gonna have to shout out the dude for this. This was lovely. This is the Falcons right now in a nutshell. Woo! Yeah. Oh, yeah. And those are not tears of joy, guys. That is tears of sorrow. Now, if you were on here, a lot of media experts and shit, they owe Dude not an apology. And let's get Dude in here because we have to. It would do me no justice without bringing the man in here to go on so we can explain why we told y'all this ass whooping was going to come and that the NFC South resides back in Tampa. Dude, you make your presence known because it won't do me no justice. Oh, there he is. What's up, dude? Look at that handsome figure right there. Okay.
Well. I'm down here in the dirty South, wondering Where's all that Falcon glossing? Hey. I want to shout out to AJ for keeping it real. We got Louie coming on from the Frozen Pirate podcast. Of course, Slick is still licking his wounds from that devastating loss in the Brit Bowl by the Sandwell Steelers. All that said, Atlanta and all you media honks, what had happened? I remember a certain outlet there on the Twitter X files, whatever it's called. Remember the guy who posted and said, and I had to comment. I bit my tongue, but then I said, you know what? Screw it. That the Falcons have a better roster position by position up and down the entire roster than the Bucs. Remember that on Twitter there, buddy?
I remember that, dude.
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to take a little bit of offense to it. And here's why. Kirk Cousins looked like he needed the handicap placard. Bijan Robinson, you got outdueled by Bucky Irving. A rook that we didn't hype up like they hyped you up. That I'm the Pitt's worst tight end draft pick since OJ Howard. Not pretty. Don't know if we heard anything from you. Raheem. Hey man, you got the whole chest bumping and high fiving the players part down. Now try coaching, because that would be cool. Atlanta, you got punked, not by Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers, not by Terry Bradshaw and the Steelers. You got punked by a member of the Lollipop Guild who wasn't good enough to play in Chicago and wasn't good enough to win the starting job in your camp and the Pittsburgh camp. You got beat by Justin Fields. And here's the fun fact. We were told all offseason the Falcons' offense is going to be legit. It's going to rival Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Blah, blah, blah. They're going to score so many points that we're not going to know what to do with it. Take the over on Atlanta. Pound the over. Bro, you got beat by a team and they didn't even score a touchdown in your own stadium. Think about that for a minute. The team beat you, never crossed the goal line. Ever. In the whole game. But your high vaunted offense couldn't seem to surpass 18 points. Wasn't that what it was? Wasn't like 18 to
18-10.
18 to Cousins? So, Kirky Buck. I'm gonna call you that because you're an asshole. $160 million, and I'm already seeing outlets like Fanside and SI put out. It's time to start the Penix. It's Penix time. It's Penix time. It's excellent. And here's what I'm thinking. First of all right, you threw the emergency parachute way too quick. It's one game. And to be fair to Kirk, he doesn't look like he's healthy yet. But wouldn't that be why you would draft a quarterback after signing a $160 million quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, that maybe he won't be healthy for the first game, so we can throw the rookie in there and keep this veteran from looking like a fool? Oh, you didn't choose that path, did you? So, Atlanta Falcons, you are now relegated to the same part of the division as the Carolina Panthers. Congratulations. Saints, I'm proud of you, Saints fans, because you haven't been bumping your gums and pumping your chest about dog walking the kitty cats over there in Carolina. Rightfully so, you shouldn't. They're horrible. Hell, the best player on their team just got hurt, and he's 97 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
So to surmise the entire weekend, Jaden Daniels, you ran the ball very, very well. Jaden Daniels, you didn't throw the ball very well. Bucs defense, I don't know how you did it, but you lost 3 defensive backs literally within a half hour during the game?
Yep.
And you still managed to shut down one of the highest recruited and highest valued quarterback prospects in recent memory, and basically turned him into a running back. Levante David, you're all over the field. And this is where I eat the big plate of crow. So let me take a breath before I say this. Joe Tryon-Shoyinko, you had a great game. You did. Might be too late, but you did. And shout out, JTS was out there like a man with his hair on fire. I appreciate that. Via, whatever you want to call him. I call him Double V. Bro, you just stay wrecking people. I mean, if you want to know when you hear all these football terms and these football geeks say, this guy eats double teams, and you're not sure what that means, just go pop on a tape of number 50. He literally holds one guy with each arm and says, all right, well, now what? Can I get a cheeseburger? So, with all that said, Buccaneers are 1-0, 37 points against a decent defense, I guess. I mean, do we call them middle of the road? That's the thing. I don't think the Washington Commanders know what the hell they are, so I'm not sure that we're supposed to know what the hell they are. But here's what I will say. At least when you were called the football team, it didn't matter so much that you sucked on the field.
Right.
Because that was an original name. But now you're the Commanders. And what are you commanding? Nothing. You're over. And looking at the division, Dallas looks pretty decent, and a lot of people got paid. The Eagles are going to be the Eagles. They're going to be beast and brute force bullies during the regular season, and they're going to cave in the playoffs like they typically do, except for 1 year. And then, well, okay. And then there's the Giants, which is like the retarded dragon on that 3-dragon meme. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones. Did you see the stat on Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
Since signing his big contract extension, what was that, like 160 million or something like that?
Yeah.
So in that ballpark, he has thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns.
Damn shame.
So, Bucs fans, when you're gripping your knuckles and you're popping and you're cracking, you're sweating, and you got the boob sweat going underneath on your t-shirt, and that Axe body spray isn't holding up to what you're sweating out of your pores because you're like, oh, the Buccaneers, they're going to have a hard time. It's going to be a close game. We're not the Panthers. Rejoice. We're not the Giants. Rejoice. What we are is a 3-time defending division champ, 4 years in a row winning the season opener, Super Bowl champion in this decade. Who else can say that in our division? Hell,
nobody. Not a damn person. Not
so
a damn person.
Keep your panties from getting in the bunch, Bucs fans. There was lots of mistakes, lots of injuries. And I'll be 100% with you. I know AJ is a little more positive about this. I don't see a whole lot of fun coming this weekend in Detroit, only because I'll say this. I'm worried about not necessarily the Detroit defensive line. I'm worried now that we found out Luke Gadecki is in concussion protocol. I'm not sure if you guys saw that.
I did.
So if we lose Gadecki, we're bringing in, not Luke Gadecki, not a starter. And as much as I know this gentleman next to me isn't a big Aiden Hutchinson fan, fact of the matter is he comes pretty much every down. So with all that said, I'm just sitting here droning on, and AJ looks like he's about to go to sleep. We do have a fully packed show. We have not just this handsome young man next to me here on the screen. We have down there Louis from the Frozen Pirate podcast. I can get that out. And if you look down in the lobby there, we just got joined by none other than, and this is a hell of a resume, so let me put this title out there. Writer for Bucs Report, Sports Talk Florida, Creative Lopi Magazine podcast, host of the RBLR Bucs podcast. We call it Rebler podcast. And a credentialed member who will be residing in the press box for the Buccaneers home game. So we have Carter Brantley backstage as well, and possibly JT Olson that we're chasing down. With that said, AJ, I'm going to turn the show over to you and let you run it because your name's on the title. But before I tap out here for a couple minutes, and I will be back, I do want to turn some music down here because I don't want to blow your ears out, AJ. That's only for entrances. But I do feel like if we put a little background music in here for you, bro,
yeah,
you can get that vibe going.
Oh, yeah.
So We'll throw that a little bit in the back. AJ, much respect. The two gentlemen down below in the stage. I'll catch you guys in a little bit. But again, Buccaneers are going to struggle this weekend. I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm just going to say, don't be upset if they're 1-1, and be freaking out if they're 2-0.
My man, thanks a lot, there, dude. Appreciate you as always. Delivers as usual. We're gonna bring up our two guests. We got Louis from, as he said, I like this, a tongue twister, Frozen Pirate Podcast, and we got Carter Brantley in the house. Let's bring both of them on. How y'all doing, guys? Welcome.
What's happening? Hey, say Frozen Pirate Podcast 5 times fast. How's that?
Exactly. It's like saying Sunshine City. I'm not going there. I can't do it.
I hear you.
How y'all doing, though? I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you both. How you doing, Carter?
Chilling, man. Another week, another dollar, or another day, another dollar, whatever you want to say. Yeah, I'm excited for some more Bucs football this weekend, man. It was so great to watch the NFL and NCAA. It's been fantastic having football back in the swing of things. So yeah, super excited for this week's game.
I can dig it. And again, how you doing, Louis?
Living the dream, baby. One nightmare at a time. No, I'm just kidding. Everything's good over here. I actually hit on some parlays during the week. Then the Buccaneers won, and what a time it is to be alive, man. They opened up the first week of the season, 37 points. When have we ever done that as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? So, and the offense looked good, man. I'm happy, man. I'm happy.
Yeah, the last time we did that, it was the Fitzmagic show, and that was against the Saints, but our defense damn near let them come back. But I'm just happy. I want to show you guys this. Well, first off, again, you guys weren't on here, but Carter, you could probably, especially for someone who is in the media, this is going to be sweet for you to see, and you as well, Louis. We're only gonna mention them for like 2 seconds, and then we're gonna get them out of here. But these are the Falcons right now, and they should be like that. That's not just tears, fellas. That's sweat. Now, before I let you, I'm going to tell you guys this, and if you guys agree, please give me your thoughts. But I told people this, Louis and Carter, from the beginning. I said, first of all, football 101, offenses take longer to gel. Kirk just got off an ACL injury, and the Falcons simply overlooked the Steelers. But here's what I said, guys, and if I'm right, I need you guys to come back on this. The first 5 games I said is going to determine how this Falcons season is going to go. People said they had the easiest. I said in the later down the line, but their first 5 games were hard. Pittsburgh, the Eagles, the Chiefs, Saints, then the Bucs. If they are 1-4 or 0-5, their season's cooked. Let's start off with you, Louis. What do you think?
I'm not going to count them out just yet because it's week 1.
Okay.
I don't think Kirk Cousins is their guy. And I said this, even when they signed him, to sign him and draft a rookie, I wouldn't be surprised if by week 5 we don't see Michael Penix Jr. taking over this team. I don't know. But then again, it's just week 1. They looked very bad against the Steelers. I'm not to take nothing away from the Steelers because Najee Harris is a beast. But just the throws that Kirk Cousins was, it looked like a guy that hasn't had enough reps with an offense. I don't know. I'm not going to count them out just yet, but that was a pretty shitty and terrible performance on their behalf. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
I can dig it. How about you, Carter? What was your first impression?
Yeah, I mean, like Louis said, it's week 1. It's tough to draw too many conclusions based off of that small of a sample size, especially with the reduced preseason games. Nobody really plays their starters in preseason games anymore. So it's sort of like a preseason week 4 sort of thing, but it's just happens to count towards your regular season record. And it's tough. It's definitely tough to go out there and you kind of, like you said, he's coming off that major injury. So I don't know, moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised to see Penix come in and kind of take over that spot. I'm a big Penix fan. I'm just not a fan of the Falcons picking him. It was just kind of a weird thing, but we'll see how that plays out moving forward for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I'm certainly not out on them. They've still got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Kyle Pitts, hopefully he has a breakout season. I'm depending on him for, the 4th straight year, much to my own detriment, obviously. But, we'll see how that moves forward as well. So they've just got a lot of talent. I'm not going to count them out, but yeah, that was an ugly loss, especially against a Steelers team with Justin Fields. I don't really know what they're going to do moving forward, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, you both have. I agree. It's week one, but usually it depends. Depending on a team like that and them having to catch up, Kirk is going to have to get his confidence restored. I'm not too certain about that. I was not impressed by Drake. I told people Drake is average, but nobody wants to listen. And I said Pitts is going to have to stay healthy, but we'll see. We'll see. Either way, we'll see a lot like I said, within the next 3 games. Hopefully they can get it together, but hopefully they don't, because that means we run the show. But we're done talking about the Falcons because they're the Falcons. We're going to talk about what we always here to do. Talk about the damn success for the Bucs. It makes the week go by so much better. Guys, we just got to I just got to play this again because this is routine for us nowadays. I love it.
Mayfield looks left all the way. Single coverage, one-on-one. Oh, what a catch! Mike Evans fighting through Benjamin St-Juste for a 17-yard touchdown.
It was just beautiful, superb. Louis, I can tell you this right now, guys. In the DMV, I was up in the bar. When I saw that one-on-one, I said, oh, my God, he's going to him. They said, what you mean? I said, anytime Evans has one-on-one, you take it. Anytime you don't double Evans, it's disrespect. Anytime you don't do it. Louis, what was your reaction when you saw that?
I really wasn't surprised because Baker's really good at picking up coverage like that. And you've heard from Baker numerous of times. You're crazy to single coverage Mike Evans. One-on-one, come on. When I seen the catch, I was actually really impressed over the shoulder because he not one but two during that game, and it was like a sense of relief because I'm like, all right, this is nice. I think I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is probably the first time I've said this on air. I think Baker has better chemistry with Mike than Tom Brady had, and I know that sounds crazy, but I've always said that. Thanks to Brady for bringing us help bringing us a title, but I never felt like the connection between him and Mike was like, I'm not going to say genuine. I just felt like Mike Evans wasn't properly utilized to me in those offenses because I was expecting like huge statistic years from Mike Evans, and it felt like Brady was always going to Godwin a lot versus now where it's Baker is like you see a big difference in the 2 seasons that from Baker and Tom Brady with Mike Evans. Mike is getting the ball more, versus Brady was a little hesitant to throw that deep ball sometimes. The only way he would throw that deep ball is if it was like a for sure thing. Versus Baker kind of takes that chance and he's smart about it, like you saw in that play. I really like that chemistry moving forward. I think Mike can replicate what he did last year. I think he could get maybe a touchdown to 2 touchdowns more this year. If they're gonna keep singling Mike, but like you said, AJ, you can double him up too. Go right ahead. I think he'll still get it, but yeah, that's just my opinion. I really like the chemistry. They haven't skipped a beat.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Carter?
Yeah, I was up in the press box when that happened, and we all just kind of went, "Oh, like man!" It was a really cool catch, and I love those moments when everyone has a shared reaction to something. It's the big hits always happen too, but yeah, that was a ridiculous catch. That was really really fun. I think it's kind of an under the radar, really impressive catch. But yeah, like you said, single coverage against Mike Evans, that's going to be bad news for the defense every time.
Not to cut you off, Carter, but I don't. I'm gonna not to get off subject. That touchdown, that first catch by Mike, that TD catch to start off the season for him, the catch was awesome. But did you guys see the dance after it, the celebration?
Of course,
it was even better. And
Yeah.
I actually, I'm gonna be putting out like a clip that I edited with a certain song to go with that dance, and I'm gonna try and make it go viral, man. I'm telling you, like
my man.
for me, I'll before I log out, and I'll let you guys know the show for tomorrow. You're gonna see a little snippet of that on tomorrow's show, and I think the song that I play is like our theme for this season, man. I'm sorry to cut you off though. I just had because I had to get that out because the catch and the dance for me was even funny. He kind of just like had that. It was funny to me. I'm sorry. I thought it was hilarious.
No, yeah, it was a great dance. I mean, every touchdown celebration is great for the Bucs. There's not a
Mhm.
bad. That was definitely an elite one. That was definitely an elite one for sure. But I'm also excited because Jalen McMillan might be the reason that Mike Evans gets single coverage a lot more. Like having that third option out there that's really dynamic. I loved what I saw from Jalen McMillan. Week 1 against the Commanders, I get it, temper expectations, but my goodness, he looked explosive because he had 2 other big plays that they just kind of missed, whether it was him dropping it or Baker just missing them. He could have had a humongous game. I mean, he could have had a ridiculous game. So if he continues to get open like that, my goodness, teams aren't going to be able to double Mike Evans because they're going to have to worry about McMillan and Godwin too. So
Ding, ding,
I'm
ding,
really
ding.
stoked. Yeah, I'm really stoked. Like not take anything away from the Evans catch, but I think McMillan might have had a little bit of something to do with Evans getting single coverage because the league knows. The league is way smarter than I am or any of us. They adapt. So they're going to be
Oh yeah.
they're going to recognize that McMillan's really freaking good. So
You're
I'm
not
pretty.
wrong on that, Carter. I'm jumping the gun. I'm just giving y'all like a foreshadowing of McMillan. Just keep that in y'all thoughts. McMillan, you're right on something. But I'll get back to the Commanders. I just like the fact that when Evans did it, he did it with ease, and there is a reason, Louis. I want to piggyback what you say, and Carter, you guys can jump in on this if you want to. But Louis, you're not wrong. I felt the same way about Evans and Brady. It was more forced, but there's a reason behind that. The reason is Brady is a perfectionist. Most quarterbacks like him, they believe in getting the for sure thing and not necessarily taking the chance. And Godwin was more of his speed, crispier in the slot. Where does name some of the biggest receivers that Brady ever thrives with was in the slot? Wes Welker, Edelman, Amendola. So that
Yeah.
it fit perfectly.
Chris Hogan,
Chris Hogan, Wentz,
Dante
Evans,
Stallworth. Sorry,
Evans,
man. I was a Patriots fan. I
you get it.
watched the games and stuff like that, and just
Yep.
watching these slot receivers. As soon as he came down to the Bucs, I'm like, Godwin's gonna be a slot guy. Like it's unanimous. Either that or you're gonna bring back Adam Humphries of some sort. I don't know, but it
There
was
you go.
definitely Godwin. I was like, I knew he was gonna be the slot guy.
Mhm. Well, yeah, and you got to, and the thing is, gunslingers is what Evans thrive in. Jameis
Oh yeah.
Winston, you got to force it because you have to believe. Baker is going to believe in Evans, and why shouldn't he? Evans is that guy. I got a video on TikTok, Carter. If you want to go through it, I got the pictures literally of most of the times when Evans is scoring, two people are on him. Let's go back to the Jaguars game last year when he caught his second touchdown. 2 people were on him. There was literally one play, Carter and Louis, when we played the Ravens 2 years ago. He made a wonderful catch, and there were 3 people around him. You have to do it. You have to. And let's get back on McMillan. You're right. McMillan, Carter, could have had a 150-yard day. Here's the thing. It's this. It's his route running that is so crisp. More than that, he has separation that is superb that I haven't seen. Now, going forward, here's the thing. Carter, you're right. A lot of teams are gonna have to adjust and they can't put a third string guy on him. They might have to put a starter on him. They might have to put their second best. If you put your third best on him, it's not only Mike Evans is gonna make you pay. Godwin is back, baby, in the slot. What are you going to do? You can't handle that. And that is what the Bucs simply did. 5 straight possessions of scoring. When people were saying, oh man, they're only getting 3 points, I said, patience. They're gonna get it together. They're
called
going
it
to
too.
get it. Yeah,
I said the same thing. I said in
Yeah.
my pregame show, I said I expect the Buccaneers to put up like at least 3 field goals, maybe 2 to start the game, and I predicted a 27-16 victory. And I thought I was actually shooting high with the Bucs there, but I had the feeling that I've always said about this Buccaneer team, and I'm going to say this moving forward. This is the type of team that has to go up. Like, I don't want to jump the gun with the Lions, but this is the type of team that has to, for me, they have to put up at least 10 points. They have to be ahead by 10 because this is the type of team that's built for that. They proved it with the Commanders. But I want to ask you guys this about Chris Godwin. Everybody's excited about Godwin. He's back. He's back. He's back. and I love the fact that he's back. Like he looks like he's in top flight, full form, like the old Godwin. But let me ask you this: due to the success, say if McMillan goes out there and he just tears it up, does Godwin stay with the Buccaneers next year, or is he gone?
Carter, you go ahead and handle that.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I gotta ask because I started thinking about this, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's a good chance if both guys really show out. I mean, I don't think Jason Light's gonna pay
No.
2 wide receivers, man.
Yeah, I think that the Bucs are really excited to have Godwin for this year, but I think that if he has another great season, which I'm perfectly expecting Godwin to have another really solid season, even if he doesn't, he's going to get a decent amount of money in free agency.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I just don't think the Bucs are going to be willing to pay that kind of money.
Yeah.
Especially since they've committed to Winfield and Wirfs over this offseason. They committed to Evans. And especially if McMillan has a breakout season, if he has a solid rookie campaign, it kind of makes, unfortunately, Godwin a luxury they can't afford, which stinks because Godwin's great. He's been a lifetime Buck. He's done nothing but the right thing. It sucks to see him go, but yeah, especially if McMillan has another solid year.
Trey
Godwin
Palmer too. We're forgetting about
Trey
Trey.
Palmer's
These guys like for the first time, we have some serious threats, homegrown talent rookies that we've drafted. We're kind of building a juggernaut here, but I'm just saying, I was thinking about that. Godwin might not be a Buck next year, and I've kind of already predicted, not to put a damper on the show, but I've kind of predicted where the best place would be for him, honestly. And I don't want to say it because I try to be in tune with the universe, man, and I don't want to put that out there. I'm hoping that he comes back a Buccaneer, but because we're on the topic of Jalen McMillan, that's why he impressed the hell out of me, dude, on Sunday. Not gonna lie, I got nervous when he dropped that first pass from Baker. I'm like, oh man, what are you doing? Like that was touchdown all the way, but he didn't, implode on himself. He went out there and he caught a touchdown, and he did well. I'm impressed, man. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with this team. The offense, the defense is another story.
I think, guys, I'm going to look at the glass half full. Godwin will be back, and Christopher said this very well. If Light wants Godwin, he'll sign him. Here's the thing, Carter. You know this. Won't we by next season have paid our bill that we won the Super Bowl with?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, there's always going to be
money. And
for sure, the
say
salary cap's always going up. So that's the good news.
And look, and I say this in the Lord's name, and I'm speaking this in existence. The Bucs get to the NFC title. Let's say they fall just short. Do you think Godwin is going to want to? And remember, guys, they're Godwin and Evan. Why do we love them so much? They're hungry, but most importantly, they're humble. I think Godwin will understand. Why would I want to leave somewhere and start over a chemistry when I know that Light will give me a substantial amount of money? And let's be real, guys. Florida is a no-state tax place. Wherever he goes that's successful, he might not even see a lot of that money due to the tax. I think Light will give him a good amount of money. But I think Godwin knows I'm going to get paid. And more than that, I want to be a champion again. I do think that Light will find a way. If Light was able to get all of those, our beloved players back, this is not going to be a hard thing because Godwin is not selfish. And you're right, McMillan will go off, but that is going to benefit Godwin as well. That extends Godwin and Evans' career because now you can't double them. Or you look, I don't want to tip my hat, but damn it, I got to now. I'm going to talk about the Lions later on, but
see what I started.
There's two additions that I think that this is going to make Jason Light the number one GM, and that's going to make the Bucs not only a kick-ass juggernaut, as Louis eloquently put, but also we're going to beat the Detroit Lions, and it ain't going to be because of the defense, the offense. And Louis did say this, guys, so we got to give Louis his flowers. He said the offense is going to have to carry us soon. Bucky Irvin is going to be a special surprise. Did you see how he commanded the ball? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to stop this team. God forbid if this Bucs run game is average. You can't stop McMillan, Godwin, Evans, and we forgetting not just Trey Palmer, guys. We haven't even talked about Cade Otton yet.
Well, for a fun statistic, I'm not going to
Yeah.
ride on Cade Otton because usually I'm tough with him.
Yes.
A lot of tight ends last week in the NFL didn't really show up, so I'm going to give Cade a pass. But
My
to
man.
follow up what you said, AJ, I wouldn't look past the Lions, man, because this is why I'm a little nervous with the Lions. You know who the Lions remind me of right now? Remember that time when the Buccaneers just couldn't beat the Eagles? And finally, when Gruden came in, not that I'm a Gruden fan, he came in and, we finally beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I think we're in that same scenario. I don't think we're gonna come. I don't think we're gonna come out with a victory this Sunday because Detroit. And hear me out first. Detroit is the type of team, and I love their coach Dan Campbell. He's awesome. I love their coach. Like he's a player's coach, man. You see, like I seen highlights of him jumping on the ground, doing drills with guys. I can respect that. The Detroit Lions are a tough team. When I say tough, I mean like boxing tough. Like they're gonna punch you in the mouth. They're gonna stay in the game with you. I think they're gonna. I think that it's not gonna be an easy game. I think like the injuries that we had last week. I think we're gonna get a couple more because this is gonna be such a physical game on both ends. I think we fall short, but I think we see them. And if you guys listen to the pregame show that I had, I said my expectations of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year is an NFC Championship game. And I want to say that I think that the Bucs will meet the Lions again in the playoffs this year. So I'm not really too worried if they take a loss to the Detroit Lions. I did predict us beating them, but I'm not gonna put all my money on that. I think we're gonna see them in the playoffs. I think the team that the Buccaneers are really gonna wow people when they beat them is the Niners, but that's for another time. But like I said, I wouldn't get too carried away with Bucky Irving. I've seen this story before with Cadillac Williams. You look great. You look great. And then, you know what I'm saying? We got to take stuff 1 week at a time. And it's the biggest overreaction week of all time. You know what I'm saying? So I love Bucky. I love Rashad. Rashad was really ugly in the stats as far as like 15 carries, 31 yards. But did anybody see his receiving? Did you see how good he looked? Out of running those screenplays, it was like 67 yards receiving. Yep. So this team's dangerous, and I'm gonna continue to say that the offense has got to carry this defense for a couple of weeks until the defense gets their shit together. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad, but like I said, I that's just my opinion.
Well, let me get somebody else on so they can come in here and they can express themselves as well. We got JT Olson in the house. Oh yeah, JT is in the shadows. I can dig it. What's up, JT? How you doing?
What's up, y'all? Just enjoying another beautiful night up here.
Exactly. We're just here discussing one of the victories of us whooping the Commanders. At first, we were getting ahead of ourselves. We're talking about Detroit, how people have their doubts, but we still see the Bucs in the long run being good. I just have a little thing against Detroit, and I'll explain it later. But let's get back to talking about the goods and what we want to see better in the Commanders game. And since you're just coming on, give me two things that you enjoyed seeing on the Bucs offense and two things you enjoyed seeing on the Bucs defense. And we're gonna roll our way back up to in that order. So JT, what's up? Go ahead, spit it.
I'll give you two receivers I enjoyed. Mike Evans, because he is the best. 2 more touchdown catches. He's 3 away from 100 for his career. I mean, only like 26 players have reached 100 touchdowns, and he's about to be one
actually
of them.
only 8 receivers.
28, not just receivers, but running backs too. That's total touchdowns.
Oh yeah, got you.
So, yeah, he is going to be right up there very soon with the likes of Barry Sanders, Sean Alexander for all-time great touchdown scorers. So, just appreciating Mike Evans while we got him, still doing his thing. And then the future, Jalen McMillan. He was a guy I was very high on coming into the NFL this year, and he was awesome. He had his great touchdown. He had another one where him and Baker were just a little bit off, just the timing, and McMillan couldn't adjust his body enough to bring that pass in. And then he drew a pass interference that set the Bucs up on the 5-yard line. I mean, he was getting open for big shots, and they only hit one, but that separation, that is no accident.
Yep. What about you? And what about defense? What about two things on defense?
Oh man, there wasn't a lot I loved about the defense, to be honest. Big V is still Big V. You know, it was good to see
Yep.
him out there. You know, starter on either side of him was out for this game, so you're doing what you can. But you know, I think really they kept that running game in check for the most part, outside of Daniels. Um, it was just a couple of missed tackles that really sprung it, but I think V played well up front,
Mm-hmm.
and I think just overall, I think just the resiliency of the secondary. You know, so many went down. It was next man up. Chris Izzian playing on the outside where he hasn't played corner since high school. That
Mm-hmm.
is just a team first mentality, and you love to see it. It wasn't always pretty, but you know, it's week one. It's going to get better.
Amen. How about you, Carter? Go ahead. Break down the analysis. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Louis mentioned it a little earlier, but the Rashad White, the play action to the screen pass that was great down the field. I forget the exact yardage, but it was almost called back by the illegal man down the field or whatever. But luckily it wasn't. That was beautiful. That was my favorite play of the game. I'm a huge Rashad White believer. I know he sucks as kind of a traditional running back, but you know his playmaking ability, just getting out into the flats and stuff like that. Like he's an extension of the run game. He's not the run game, but he's an extension of it with the screen passes and the short little dink and dunks. You know, it's just about getting your playmakers in open space. That's the modern day running game, and I loved it. I love it. I think, and secondly, I think Liam Cohen did a great job. A lot of the motion concepts with Jalen McMillan, you know, having him kind of moving around and stuff like that. It was just stuff that we haven't necessarily seen in a few years. Obviously, Leftwich was very stagnant with his offensive game plans at points throughout his Bucs tenure. And even Dave Canales could be a little bit predictable sometimes with his play calling. But yeah, it was a really strong start for Cohen. I thought he did a really phenomenal job, especially with, you know, a new offense, you know, guys that you're not necessarily super familiar with. So that was really exciting. Defensively, I loved Servassier Dennis. You know, he got a little sack in there. I'm really excited to see him moving forward. Yeah, Dennis did play great. He was phenomenal. I'm really excited because, you know, him and KJ Britt, kind of the 2A, 2B kind of thing. Maybe they kind of play off of each other, you know, depending on the situation, depending on the game plan. They get different snap totals and stuff like that. So I'm pretty excited to see those two play, you know, kind of off of each other. And then the second thing, like JT mentioned, the defense was a bit rough. Giving up all those yardage to Jaden Daniels was tough. But, you know, I really loved Christian Izien stepping up and doing his thing. Obviously, like JT said, wasn't always pretty. But, yeah, I don't know. Stepping up and playing out of position is huge in any sport, in any position, in any level. And he did it. And, you know, got to commend him for it. It wasn't pretty and he didn't do a great job, but that's because he's not familiar. If any one of us tried to do that, we would have had a miserable time too. So shout out Christian Eisen. Hope he doesn't have to do it too much moving forward. But yeah, that was definitely something I enjoyed seeing.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Louis?
Well, I'll start with the defense. Normally, I would say Christian Izzian because this is a guy that I've been pushing for. Very underrated. I mean, he's small for his size, for where he's playing, but very underrated. But he's just there and always making a play, especially in week one. He did it last year against the Vikings. But he's not really what stood out to me. What stood out to me, I mean, there wasn't much that stood out to me because it's what I expected. But what stood out to me was JTS getting a sack. That was huge because I've been saying that this kid needs to step up. I've been calling him all gas, no brakes, and I don't want to do that. I when they drafted him, I said, hey, this kid's going to be a freak. Just too fast for his own feet. He just couldn't really put it together. But now this year, he was all over the place. So I like that. And Vita Vea just tossing his weight around on the defense. You know, guys like that, they just moving guys like, get out of here. Where's the quarterback? You know, is he the new QB killer in town? I mean, I don't know. That's yet to be determined. But yeah, he really stood out to me. He really helped the defense stay in it. And that. But as far as on the offense, I mean, same thing what Carter said. I'm going to keep beating on that door, man. Rashad White is going to be the heart and soul of this offense. Continuing to make plays like that, it could be 3rd and 7, 3rd and 15 even. You know, imagine 3rd and 15 with Dave Canales. We're punting. Now with Liam Cohen, not so much, man, because he has so much in that playbook, and it's confusing now. Like before, it was very predictable what they were gonna do. Now you're just like, you see Rashad go out for a screen like that, gaining like positive yards after catch. That was huge. And of course, the rookie Jalen McMillan, because throughout the year, you're gonna need a third and a fourth wide receiver to step up. Mike is gonna be not tired, but Mike's gonna get banged up. Chris is gonna get banged up. There's going to be a time where Trey and McMillan are going to have to step up. And McMillan, I'm confident in that kid. From what I've seen, I just think he needs more reps with Baker. Like Baker has the chemistry with Mike and Chris. I just think it's only a matter of time. By week 6, week 7, I'm predicting this kid to have at least 700 yards receiving, over 700 yards receiving this year. So I was excited about those two guys on offense, Rashad White and Jalen McMillan.
My man, look, all y'all have been just spitting good facts. Look, on the defensive side, I'm gonna go with don't believe me, I'm going with Whitehead. Whitehead's presence was known. How many times did we truly see them go for his side? That is what I love, because JD also knew. He probably saw film and said, yeah, I don't want to set my receivers up like that. I don't want them to get that. You could tell his presence alone is such a big difference, fellas. Tell me this. When Whitehead was out there, did you guys have to hold your breath as when Ryan Neal was out there? Hell no. All
man.
of you. We all look, just like JT Olsen, I had to sit in the shadows anytime I saw them throw to Ryan Neal. So I'm like, sweet Lord, please don't go to his side. Please don't. So yes, I like that his presence alone. He held it down when, unfortunately, Winfield went out. You can clearly tell that they still had to honor his presence, so that's good. And like you said, Louis Vita, the man. The man just has his way, and it's only going to get better for this defense when Kancey comes back. Which I am happy that the Bucs are taking their time, because it's not. Look, we did the same thing last year, and what Kancey do? He came in there and he was wreaking havoc. So stay healthy. We got this. Offensively, I got to go with Cohen. You said it, Louis. It was not. There were so many times where I was happy I didn't know what the hell they were doing. I said, yes, I don't know what the hell they're doing, and that means the defense more likely don't know. I'm not saying I'm as wise as NFL guys, but damn it, I know a little something. But I do like the fact, like you said, he used everybody's talents to their strengths. Even and the scary thing is, guys, Cohen is just getting started. I guarantee you he had like another 10 plays left where he was like, I don't need this for today. We got this. But my second guy is Bucky. I think Bucky is here's the thing that I like, that he's gonna complement Rashad. Bucky beats you down as the game goes on. In the first half, he slowly got his way. That second half, when he got that runoff, it's going to be hard. And that's another reason why Chris and JT and Louis, that's why I said McMillan and Bucky are going to be the reasons why the Bucs beat Detroit. I don't think Detroit has enough in the arsenal defensively for that. And remember, Bucky can pass block too. He can pass block, but it's going to help Rashad. And you know it, Louis, you're right. And Carter, I believe in Rashad too. Shit, if Cohen really want to make me do a cartwheel, put Rashad White in the slot on one play. Move that, because he has the agility, but also he has the strength where let a nickel try to tackle him. He'll break that shit off and keep it going.
Put it this way, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it this year, despite from the play calling of Liam Cohen this year. Like I said, I know it's only one game, but it's a hell of a lot different from what we've seen. And I was praising Canales because I was just like, because Byron Leftwich, I don't like talking bad about anybody. It's not right, but Jesus, like it was bad. It was real bad. Like
it was.
And then we moved to Canales, and you saw potential there. But with Liam, I mean, I'm rooting for him because he's a hometown guy. He's right up the street in Rhode Island from me, man. That's where he grew up. So I'm rooting for him, man. And what I saw, I'm like, wow, somebody's utilizing Chris Godwin the right way. Somebody's utilizing Mike on the outside the right way. Like our key players, like they're being utilized to their strengths. Rashad White on the screens, like that's why I said 2,000 all-purpose yards. That's why I said that. But then obviously Bucky got drafted. Yeah, man, I was predicting something big from him. Then they drafted Bucky, and then Sean Tucker kind of came on. I retract from that comment. I mean, I can't take it back because
don't be Louis. It's gonna get Rashad's gonna get better and better, but we're gonna switch it up to this guy because I want everybody's opinion. JT, we're gonna start you with this. I'm sure everybody is familiar. Kyle Brandt had that. I'm gonna have a hot take that where everybody's not ready for, and he finally did it, and all Buck fans were just sitting back like, "All right, bro, we knew this already, but continue." This guy right here, this fella right here, Mike Evans. He breaks it down on why Mike Evans was so special, and I just want to ask JT. Were you surprised, or did you already know things like this?
I'm not surprised people have that opinion. I don't know if I share it necessarily because he's in the stratosphere of Derek Brooks and Rondé Barber, and those are two of the best ever. Full career in Tampa Bay, just A class, first class people. They're all the same mold. So the only thing that's different between the three is the other two did it for longer, and Mike's still doing it. So we don't know how long he'll go or how long he'll be in Tampa. If he's here 15, 16 years, just like they were, then I mean, I think he has a real case. But he's still in the process of writing his legacy. So projection wise, I have no problem with it because he's in that stratosphere. I don't go that far quite yet. Once he gets, once he's top 5 in receiving yards and touchdown catches all time, then I'm ready to stamp that home, no problem. But let's see how these next couple of years play out.
Okay, I can dig it. How about you, Carter?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a popular thing to kind of compliment Mike Evans and say he's underrated and all that stuff, almost to the point where, like, yeah, people appreciate Mike Evans properly, like they've given him the respect that he deserves. So, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not sure what the counter arguments are, if they even exist, to Mike Evans being a Hall of Famer at this point. It'd be pretty foolish to argue with that. So I wasn't necessarily surprised. It was a fun little storyline, fun to give someone some love. I don't know if it's really quite a hot take though. Like you said, it's kind of one of those things where you just gotta sound like you're saying something controversial, and then you're like, hey, it might rain tomorrow, like just something stupid. All right, man, go for it. So yeah, it was a nice pleasant little shout out to the Bucs, but it didn't really move the needle for me.
I got you. What about you, Louis?
What when I saw
when
that
you heard
today,
Kyle say that,
my thoughts. You guys just noticed. I mean, I've noticed this for a long time, and nobody I think I told this story before on this show. To retract back, I had a huge heated debate about this 7 years ago, 8 years ago in the barbershop. Kid was trying to tell me Odell Beckham Jr. was a better wide receiver. And I'm like, okay, we'll see where they're at in 5 years. You can't compare the stats. And fast forwarding to now, I think a lot to do with why people are starting to notice was because Brady coming down to Tampa. But this is something the locals and the outside fans of the Bucs always knew. And it was just, you try to state the case and people Mike Evans, who's that? And then I made the statement, and excuse my language, when Brady came down to the Bucs, I put up a picture on Instagram. I said, now you motherfuckers are gonna know who the fuck Mike Evans is. But it doesn't surprise me that they say this. They came out with this huge collage of Mike and how great he was. And like I said, no disrespect, but you guys just noticed this. I mean, he's been doing this for a long time, and you guys are too busy covering the Cowboys and Odell Beckham on a boat, when the real leader, a guy that I think, a young kid, if you want to learn how to play wide receiver, or if you want to learn to play the game of football, just watch how Mike Evans carries himself, on and off the field. So that's why I say you guys just noticed this. I mean, the guy does so much for the community, doesn't get noticed, but here we are blowing up Tyreek Hill. Oh, look, he got arrested and that was acting a fool the whole time.
Yeah. you guys, we all, I'm sure us all Buck fans in here. That's why I would have loved. But this is what kind of pisses me off about that, because the Kyle Brandts of the world finally ignore us. They finally give us notice, some noticeable things. But then we're just like, we've seen this for years, and we've been saying this. Carter, JT, Louis, we've probably been saying this to their faces turn blue. But now all of a sudden, because here's another thing: the Bucks also, we exceeded expectations. Some people literally had the unmitigated gall to say that this team was going to upset us. I think the fuck not. Excuse my French, but yes. And the statistics that Kyle said, I'm like, we knew this already. Yes, he's played with 4 different head coaches. He has 6 different coordinators, 8 quarterbacks, not 7. We knew these things already, but I'm glad that he put that out there, because I want to give this to you guys, and then I'm going to switch to a next subject, and then Carter, we're going to give you this question and let you wrap it up. I'm just going to say this. When it comes to Mike Evans, we always knew he was great. It's just that because he didn't have a colorful personality, you didn't care, because it's not clickbait. He's not controversial. And because the Bucs were not popular. If we were the Cowboys, they talk about us. But it's okay. We don't care anymore. We want you to continue to doubt us, because that's when we win championships. And then we can make you all look stupid. That's where Louis, Carter, JT, and I come in and say, oh, no. Like Jason Light, we got the receipts, sir. So anywho, we're moving past that, because we already knew, Kyle. We don't care. Thank you, but no thanks. I want to give this to you. Early, what is your early expectations, and what feelings are you having as the Bucs head back into Detroit?
I don't know. I mean, Detroit's really good. Like, they're a defending division champ for a reason. I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't really think the Bucks pull this one out, but it's not an accurate reflection of who they are as a team or what my expectations are of their season or anything like that. I just think the Detroit Lions are a really good team, and they're going on the road, and their defense is really banged up, and the Lions offense is full force, really good. So I don't know. I don't see it in the stars necessarily, but like I said, it's not an accurate reflection of who they are as a team or what I think of them moving forward. Lions are really good. Like, the Lions are one of the best teams in football right now. So it's going to be a tough game. If the Bucks manage to pull it out, man, that's exciting. That's starting out the season 2-0. That's ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm cautiously pessimistic. I'm not necessarily super optimistic for this game, but I'm super optimistic for the season as a whole. So, not really too worried about a week 2 game. It'll come, it'll go, and then we'll be talking about the Broncos, and Bucks should thump the Broncos. So that's the good news.
I feel you. Well, thank you for your time, Carter. Can you please tell people where they can find you and what else you have planned?
For sure. Yeah, I'm at RBLR Sports. Definitely check me out there. Also, Creative Loafing, writing for them still, and obviously on Bucks Report as well. Definitely checking out on all those news outlets. I'm always writing stuff, always on shows, just always putting my stuff out there. So definitely follow me at CT Brantley 12 if you're looking for more of my stuff, or if you hated hearing my voice, you can stay away too. That's all right. But yeah, appreciate y'all having me on. I'll catch y'all later. Go Bucks.
Carter,
Hope they beat the Lions, but even if they don't,
always awesome. Take care of yourself. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Y'all have a great.
We got another person we're gonna bring on here, guys. Hell of a Bucks fan. Met this guy in person. So awesome. Let's give it up for Jeremy Morrow, aka Old Salty Buck.
What's up, man? Good to see you again. I'm hanging in there, man.
Thanks. You caught us at a great time. We were just talking about the matchup coming up between the Bucks and the Detroit Lions. Round 3, baby. What's up? So since you're in here, give us your impressions and how you feel about this Tampa Bay Bucks coming in the game, and then we'll go back around. What about you? How do you feel?
Just like the previous gentleman who was in there, I'm not optimistic about this game, but having watched how the Rams performed against that defense, I do think there's some flaws within the Lions secondary, which Stafford, I believe, was missing his starting tackle. He lost one of his key receivers in Pukanuka, and he relied heavily on Cooper Kupp. Something to the tune of 30, or yes, it was a high number of attempts to get Cooper the ball. And you're talking about a team that has a resurgent Chris Godwin, two other individuals behind him who are very capable of catching the ball, and then you got Baker Mayfield's favorite target, the cheat code, Mike Evans. And I don't think the Detroit Lions played to their best on defense, but this is definitely one that we can exploit. And then you flip the script and you look at it on the offensive side of the ball for the Lions. They have a lot of playmakers, a lot of weapons, a stout offensive line. And then you throw in there the injuries that we suffered in week 1. So this really smells to me like a shootout. And it may come down to who has the ball
Absolutely.
last. It may come down to who turns over the ball more. But it's not a game that's not winnable, if that makes sense. Like they can win this game. It's just going to take that extra effort, that extra mile. It's going to take the next man up mentality, and I think they can get it done. My concern is White running also on the offensive side of the ball. His run game hasn't been that great, so it's going to be Bucky Irving, who I think is going to take the lead for touches here, I hope. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game, shootout for sure, and last possession wins.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. Shootout is going to be something. JT, what about you?
So y'all know I live up here in Michigan, so I'm very familiar with the Lions. I was going to pick the Lions in this game, even if the Bucs were healthy. I think they're a better team than the Bucs. They're more talented, and they have more continuity. I mean, this staff has been in place for a couple of years. These players are very familiar with each other. Their core is very established, where the Bucs are still kind of finding their footing. It's a young interior offensive line. We saw it against Washington. They weren't great. There's still going to be growing pains for Graham Barton. There's still going to be growing pains for Cody Moss. So I think this version of the Bucs is not ready to beat the Lions. That being said, we are not setting our goal of winning a Week 2 game. Our goal is for the Bucs to win the Super Bowl, and I think this game can help prepare them for that. You're going to have to go to Detroit in the playoffs. That's just all there is to it. They're probably going to be the 1 seed in the NFC. I think they're the best team in the NFL. So these young guys, they have to become accustomed to that environment, going against that kind of talent level. So I want Detroit at full strength this week. I want DJ Reader back healthy. I want Penei Sewell healthy. I want them to get the Lions' best shot. And if that means it's a blowout, I'm totally comfortable with that, because it's all about long-term growth on the bigger picture. So I'm taking the Lions to win. I don't think it's going to be close because of those injuries. You talk about Antoine Winfield, you talk about Kalijah Cansey. I think those are the two most important players on the Bucs defense this year. So losing them, I think, is a huge loss for this game. So I'm picking the Lions to win this one pretty comfortably.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. I appreciate that. How about you, Louis?
Unfortunately, I am gonna have to go with the Lions. I agree a lot with what JT had to say. A lot of good points. But I think it's more to what Jeremy had to say. The game's gonna be a shootout. I'm probably gonna take the over. I think the over is like 51. I'm probably gonna take the over just because the Bucs defense isn't that good, and they're banged up at secondary. Kalijah Cansey's still not in there. Logan Hall, I don't know if he's playing. I don't think that Bucs defense can hold up with Detroit's offense. I think Detroit is going to have. I don't want to say they're going to have their way with them, but I don't think you're going to see the same repeat defense that you saw against the Commanders, because the Commanders and the Lions are two different teams. So that nostalgia of Week 1, I'm going to tell everybody as Buck fans, it's time to calm down now, because this is when the real tests are going to start to come in. And like what JT said is, I want the Lions healthy. I want them at 100% because I want to see what we can do as a team at our, like, we're banged up right now. Early on in the season, we're hurt. So on secondary, and Antoine Winfield Jr., losing him, like I said last week, him and Jordan Whitehead are going to be the tone setters for this defense. So not having Antoine Winfield in there, I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Bucs offense is going to be fine, but I think it's going to be. I think the game might go into overtime, and I think the Lions take it in overtime. That's what I'm thinking, and it's okay because it's only week 2. And Detroit's going to be a very hostile place, man. Like this is the battle of the NFC Central. I don't know if you guys remember that the NFC Central was a brutal division.
Yes.
All right. So there's no love lost here. And I'm sure the Buccaneers are going to give the Lions all they got. And I think there's probably going to be a couple of guys banged up. But I want, to what JT said, I want the Lions at 100% so I can see where the Buccaneers compare, because I do think the Buccaneers will be facing the Lions again in the playoffs. Because, like I said, my expectations is the NFC Championship game, and we'll see what happens. I'm taking,
Man.
but I am going to take the Lions in overtime.
My man, look, guys, everybody here on this channel has made great assessments of why. I will say this. Yes, Detroit is a damn good football team. They're properly coached. They're disciplined for the most part. Dan Campbell, they have a culture now. They have direction. They have an identity. And they have, like I said, to be a successful team, you need to have identity, direction, and culture. They know what's up. However, I'm gonna go on it. I'm gonna go against the grain. You guys know me. I know I told you I'm a half glass full guy. This is what's gonna change this game that the Bucs did not have last year. JT, Jeremy, Louis, Old Salty Buck. These gentlemen are going to be the X factors that Detroit is not going to be able to handle. Bada boom, bada bing. Now, here's why. If you guys looked at the game last year, well, first of all, let's just look at this past week. And I get it. It's a week-to-week game. Bowles is looking. I think, in my opinion, and I know that this is crazy, but I think the Detroit Lions are going to go into this game. They're going to take the Bucs serious, but I do think they're going to, like the Saints did in our Super Bowl run, they're going to overlook the Bucs and say, well, we got them twice, so it shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal. But the difference is, guys, I like Detroit. But if you looked at that Rams game, it told a lot. Jeremy just said it. They had trouble against a backup. And they also, their secondary is suspect. Carlton Davis, do we have to explain? He cannot, if you get him in a zone, he's cooked. If you get him, he can't catch. But This is where I'll say this between both of these teams. Whoever can run the ball the best is going to win. Hear me out. This is what both teams are going to probably try to do. Drain the clock on our team to keep our offense from being on the field and tire the defense out. That's what happened to us in the playoffs. Our defense got gassed and winded because the Bucs couldn't run the ball. Well, they could, but Canales went away from it. That's why I think Bucky and Rashad will set the tone. This is what I think will happen. They know, and Louis, you said this earlier, and I agree 100%. Guys, let me ask you this. The Bucs get up at least 10 points early. That puts a lot of pressure on Goff. Goff is not Daniels with his mobility. We're forgetting. I get it. We got Cansey and Winfield being out. That is a damn shame. But, guys, we still haven't seen the likes of Tyke Smith coming in. I think Yaya, like you said, both their line is supreme. So Yaya and JTS, if JTS is able to even get a sack out of this game, man, we got to talk about keeping him. But you're right. But I truly think
he's got to have 11 sacks this year to keep him. Yeah, I'm sorry, I had to cut you off, man. No, because he's one of the most frustrating outside linebackers, edge rushers, whatever you want to call him, that the Buccaneers have drafted in a long time. Because I had high hopes with this kid. And it was just like, why can't you put it all together? You have the physical fit, like you have everything.
And that's why they didn't pick up his fifth-year option.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Exactly. But guys, get back to the offense. Detroit does not have it. They don't have enough for Evans, Godwin, McMillan, Palmer, and Cade Otton. And even Rashad White, that passing is going to be too much. I don't give a shit about Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson is a talent, but guys, are we going to sit here and say that Hutchinson is Bosa or TJ Watt? Hell no. And the one second he got to take us in the playoffs because he was wide open. Now, Gedeke, if he doesn't go, that's a big, big problem. I hope he doesn't, but if he can go, I just think this Bucs offense is going to find a way to say, guys, as you guys said, we're in the big leagues now. We cannot take this team lightly, and we got to give them things we got because we want to overwhelm them. I truly think that Detroit is going to their defense, whoever, like you said, had the ball, old Buck, is going to win it. But whoever runs the ball the most efficiently, because I guarantee you both sides are saying, let's not put this in Baker's hands. Let's not keep this in Goff's hands. We want them to that defense to be gassed, because we know what Bo's weakness is in defenses when he plays that cushion ass coverage and the defense gets tired. So that's why it will be a high scoring game. But guys, I'm putting this in perspective. What they did to us in the playoffs, I think the Bucs are going to flip it. I got the Bucs 31 and I got Detroit 24. And here's to make things sweeter. I got Keenan Isaac getting a late interception. The guy who just got off the practice squad, I guarantee you Goff is going to make a mistake and pick on him, and that's what's going to happen. That's just my prediction. JT, I know you're going to get ready to wrap it up soon, but is there anything that you see, though, that you could hope for that could possibly give the Bucs the upper hand? Possibly.
So one thing I'll say about the Lions, I really like both their corners, Carlton Davis, obviously, and Terrion Arnold, who was a first-round pick. But even though I like both of them, I think they're both really good press man guys. They're not that fast. Both ran a 4.5. Both are vulnerable to speed, as we've seen with Carlton Davis here in Tampa. I think Trey Palmer could have a big game in this one. Working on either of those corners, his speed is a mismatch, running in the 4.3s compared to the 4.5s. And AJ, I know you're going to like this, but I think if you catch Trey Palmer with a crossing route against a guy like Jack Campbell, Jack Campbell is the weak point of their front seven. He is not a strong coverage player. So you get him over the middle with that kind of speed, and honestly, I think he can gash Detroit a couple of times in this game. So if there's an X factor who I think can flip the script, I think it's Trey Palmer.
Ooh, I like that, JT. That's cool. You know me, I love me some. Everybody here knows I love crossing routes. Crossing routes. I will look, guys. When I used to coach certain teams, and I used to throw that shit in practice. I'm like, yeah, it's a little different. Like you said, linebackers that cannot cover, they hate it. Because guess who had a bad game? I don't care his tackles statistics. Bobby Wagner played. He had an off day. Did you guys see Bobby Wagner? He looked washed up and confused. I don't ever want to hear anybody compare Bobby Wagner to Lavonte ever again. Lavonte never gets that loss. This was Bobby all game. And yeah, he's washed. But yes, JT, I do like that perspective. That's actually, I forgot Palmer could be an X factor. Damn. Well, look, JT, I'll let you get on up out of here. Tell people where they can find you and what you got coming up.
So you can find all my written work at Bucs Report. You can find my podcast on Friday nights at 9:30. Creamsicle Chronicles will be going live on YouTube. Next couple of days, I'm going to have my Big Bucks gambling guide come out for this week. Tell you all the bets you want to make for this game. Last week we went 3-0. I hit my parlay, so made some cash. So, check it out. Then I'll have my bold predictions article coming out on Friday. Talk about what, things are a little bit hot takey. They're going to be involved in this game. And, to Louis' point, I'll give you a sneak preview. I think this is a sneak peek of the NFC Championship game this weekend. Lions and Bucs, I think, are going to be the last two standing in the NFC.
I like it.
I love it, JT. Thank you, my man. And thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it. And as always, man, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I wore the wrong color today.
Yeah. No. That's a good thing. That's a psychological thing. That's a psychological thing, Jeremy. You know it. That's beautiful. Because we're going to give Detroit the blues. Guys, maybe it's just me, but after Jeremy can vouch for this, at that game, the Detroit fans and just the way the game went, it just pissed me off so much because the Bucs had opportunities. Now, Louis, did you watch? You watched the game before, right? And I know people say, "Oh, well, it's a conspiracy." I'm like, look, damn it, it's football, and I saw what I saw. Can you honestly say, Louis, if you watched it, was the officiating 100% fair that game?
I don't know anymore, man. I don't even know. You know what the problem is with officiating?
What's up?
These guys are not on full time, and that's why the
Exactly.
game. That's why the game is. That's why we're talking about it the way we're talking about it right now.
If they were full time and they had an off season like the football players had an off season, they practiced, they watched tape.
Yep,
It would
they
be
go to the camps
phenomenally
with these
better.
guys.
Yes.
We would know what an actual catch is. We would get the answers on what an actual interception is. I'm so sick and tired of this instant replay. Oh, he fumbled the ball and he muffed it here, and a catch is a catch in my opinion, and a fumble is a fumble. I mean, I remember outside, I seen better called games outside playing tackle with your friends. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like it's just this day and age, it's just like it's so overly analyzed. Like week 1 with the false start and lining up here, like it's just now we're just nitpicking now. It's
Mhm.
just it's tough. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know anymore because it's just like one week they call something, the other week they don't. I don't even know what holding is anymore. Like because there's holding on every play. Um, unless you're the I don't want to go down that with the Chiefs and stuff like that, but it's just
No, no,
like
no, no.
they
You're fine. It's okay.
they're very lenient with the Chiefs. I mean, it's just tough. Sometimes it destroys the game and sometimes it destroys the credibility. And it's just like, you've seen so many games that there was implications there, like still to this day, I hate the Cowboys, but I'm sorry to say that catch that Des Bryant made, that was a catch
Agreed.
against the Packers. That was a catch.
Agreed.
And we had to sit there and we gotta stop the game, stop the moment. Like it's just too much. But I can't complain about the officiating for that game because that game is done. It's gone. It's out of here. It's in the past tense. Now we got them this week, and
Mhm.
I say 34-31 Detroit in overtime. And
Okay.
that's not a bad sign.
No, not at all.
No.
Not a bad sign, I'm not trying to be negative, but at the end of the day, like I tell everybody, as a Bucs fan who lives in Massachusetts, I'm a football realist, and this
Right.
game is gonna be tough for them. I'm not gonna lie. Shootout, it's
Agreed.
gonna be tough, but hopefully it doesn't get ruined off officiating. You got sometimes you just gotta let the guys play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let them play, man. Just let them play. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
no,
Look like
to your point, you brought up some traumas there because I didn't like seeing that game really pissed me off. You know what I'm saying?
For as bad as I thought that officiating was, they hung with them for 3 quarters. And like you said, they got gassed in that fourth quarter. And part of that's the run game. And so, as I kind of look at it this week, I have some concerns.
Mhm.
Um, White had 15 attempts with 31 yards. He had one 15-yard long rush game last week. You get rid of that 15-yarder, and he was averaging 1 yard a rush.
Yeah.
And that's not accounting for the 6 negative yard rush plays that both backs had
Yeah.
when you combine the two. Now, Bucky did much better. We're talking, 9 for 62
Yep.
for a total of 7 yards or 5.9 or 6.9 yards of rush. And even if you get rid of that long one, he had the 31 yarder. You're still looking at 5.1, 4.7, somewhere in that range, yards per rush. So I think you got to give him the touches. You got to put both of them in the backfield, and I think Cohen will do that. That way, they don't know if they're passing out to White, if they're going to run the ball with Bucky. And I think there's a wrinkle that's coming. We didn't see Kate Otten was quiet week 1. Cohen comes from an offensive background where tight ends get utilized quite often, not just
Mhm.
for blocking, not just for chipping. They're not doing drag routes. He uses them in a wheel route, a crossing route from time to time. So I think if I'd had to guess, Cohen held back a little bit because he knows that this game is going to be a little bit bigger and that this is a team that he's going to see again. So why not add another wrinkle in there so that way he can um, get in there and kind of utilize that as a target set.
Mhm. Hey, preach, man, preach, and you're right. I think this was a game, but can we all agree that Cohen felt like we all had this idea that Cohen knew what he was doing and he knew the script and he didn't have to necessarily just think on the whim as Canales did last year.
He was clearly prepared on the down and situation, and he would call plays that suited them. We had, I think, more than half the third downs were 6 yards or more. And we had a pretty high conversion rate for third down. And a lot of those were those screen plays. You saw Godwin. Godwin had 7 first downs, I believe.
Yes, he did.
And those were from the slot primarily on third and long. So, Chris is back and Cohen's using him properly. He's not the X receiver. He's not sitting outside. So, that's super beneficial. So he understands his players. He understands their strengths, and he certainly understands situational football better than what we were playing last year.
I agree. That's why I have more of a confidence. Now, Louis is right. This is going to be a tough game. Both of you are right. The secondary, my fear is that we cannot allow Montgomery and Gibbs to go off. If they go off, it's going to be a long-ass game for the Bucs defense because you guys are right. Eventually, somebody is going to get picked on in that secondary, and it can get ugly because then Sam Laporta can come alive. Amon St. Brown, Amon-Ra had a terrible game this past Sunday. I think they're gonna try to force their way to get him the rock. So you guys are right. This is a very serious game. That's why I do think, though, the Bucs last year, they knew who to try to stop, despite that Evans still was going up, but they knew Godwin wasn't being used properly. Trey Palmer
no run game.
No run game. This year, you're right, Jeremy. Bucky, that's why I'm so hung up on Bucky, because he's a north and south guy and he's explosive. Now, here's another thing. You just said this about the tight end use. What if Cohen says, let me throw them off and do a double tight end set? Get Parham out there, because Parham, guys, Louis, you did. If defenses might not know who that is, don't worry about him. He could be used, that sneaky guy in the short distance range, or he could be a guy that can do a quick run up the seam because he does have enough speed. Cade Otton, I do think this time, you are right, Jeremy. He's going to be the insurance policy. But if the game is tight, I do not want Baker to go for Cade Otton, because that is the reason why we lost last time. Because instead of targeting Godwin or Evans, you go for those guys first. Otton later, unless Otton is wide ass open. And now we can use Rachaad White in the passing, but also, like you said, a double back set and switch the shit up. That's what I think Cohen should do. If you see, they're not going to load the box, Bucky, we're coming straight to you. They want to load the box, Bucky, you're blocking me on this one. Rachaad, we're dumping it off, screen, do what you do. So, yeah, this is a very winnable game, but both of you are right. This is why I think this is a win-win for the Bucs. Louis, you got it. If the Bucs lose, it ain't going to be by much, and there'll be something to learn from. Jeremy, both of us can all agree. If we lose this game and it's close, that's a great sign. That's a good sign, because now
an unhealthy team goes into Detroit and, loses by 7, 3, even 10. That's not a total negative outlook.
Not at all.
There's still, for me, there's still a possibility that the Bucs could maybe pull a victory out. And I think that's going to fall on guys like McMillan and Trey Palmer and Cade Otton. You have to, like what you said, AJ, you have to give these guys a different look. But I will say one thing. I'm not really expecting, and I'll eat it if I'm wrong, I'm not really expecting Bucky Irving to do anything in this game. I think the Detroit Lions are very well aware of who Bucky Irving is. And I do think they are going to make him look like a rookie, unfortunately, this week. But that's why guys like Rachaad White, to what you were saying, Jeremy, running the ball, not so great. I will say that. But he, looking at his stats, he was targeted 6 times for 6 receptions for 75 yards. And he broke it. Yeah. That's what the Bucs are going to need this weekend against the Lions. They're going to need those big gasher plays, like those 15-yard screen passes, but I think the Lions, honestly, I think they're going to be ready for a lot of the stuff. I think the Buccaneers are going to have to get real creative to beat them. And I think 2 of the guys that you're going to have to really use, that it's going to be a good thing, good for building character for the future, is Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer, because we know what Mike can do. We know what Chris can do. Chris destroyed the Lions at one point. I mean, that sliding catch that he had, I don't know if you guys remember that. But that's what it's going to take to beat a team like Liam's got to get creative. And right now it's just a feeling out process, because I'll tell you one thing, the Bucs are not the same team that left that field last year, and neither are the Lions. So it's
Yeah,
going to be a tough one.
you
Definitely
know,
going to be a good game.
yeah, guys, I just, you know what, for me, I think Detroit is a serious team, but sometimes I just feel like they've been a very inflated team into the mix, because honestly, I see the 49ers still being better than them,
Yeah.
because the simple fact with McCaffrey not playing, if you got a guy like Mason that can do that, they can be, they're actually more dangerous, because Nate asked this, guys, here's the thing, and this is why I think Detroit's defense is still sketchy as hell. They don't have a Vita Vea on their line or Levante David. They don't have a Fred Warner on their team. We know the Detroit by what? Amon-Ra, their offense, and their line is spectacular. Their line is like that. Their line is arguably one of the, what do you say? Their line is what, top 3?
They have a good offensive line. It's just they're the thing is with the Lions, it goes back to balls and toughness. Like, they're not afraid to punch you in the mouth.
That's
That's
true.
They're
that's
That's
the
also
whole
they're
thing
also
with the Lions. And
yeah.
Carlton Davis, I'm not saying he's going to be an X factor in that game, but
yeah.
this is a guy who's practiced with Mike and Chris and all these guys. You don't think he's sitting there telling him Todd Bowles' tendencies? They're not
It's so
stupid,
true.
man. You know what I'm saying? This is a game they really want, you know.
But this goes both
And
ways. I'm sure
yeah,
Bowles, they're like, wait a minute. We know Carlton Davis is shit in
yeah,
his
same
zone.
thing, same
It's
exact thing.
like,
Yeah,
if I'm them, oh, they want to go zone, you go straight after Carlton Davis. Wait a minute. You go after Carlton. Wait a minute. You're in zone. They want to play zone. Okay, Godwin, do it in and then go out. Or like you said, Palmer, go route. What you mean? Carlton Davis has no speed. Next thing I can literally see Carlton trying to do this, and he's whims it, and then Palmer just but you guys are right though. I think this will be, it's going to be a close game. That's why I said 31-24. It's going to be a shootout, but I do think this. I want to ask you both this question, in my opinion, because I think Louis, you were on to something, and I'll start with you. Let's say if the Bucs can get up 10 points early, and they can hold on that, in the, so it's second quarter and the Bucs are up 10-0. Do you think that makes it much harder for Detroit?
no,
Okay.
because I think the Bucks. So one statistic that really stands out to me from the Buccaneers offense last week was on 5 consecutive drives they scored. They scored.
Okay.
You're gonna have to do that against a team like the Lions. Those are the teams that, when you go up, like I said, for them to beat them, they're gonna have to get creative. They're just gonna
Okay.
have to start throwing things at them that, that the Lions are not really ready for, and you got to take what that defense gives you. And you got to go up. You got to go up early. The Lions are the type of team that you want them to kind of play from behind. You want them to play catch up that way, and you got to control the football. You got to
Mhm.
keep their defense, do what they did to you, do to them.
Mhm.
You got to,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? You got to keep their defense out on the field. So guys like Bucky, I expect a guy that I expect to come in is probably a guy like Sean Tucker for this game. I have a funny feeling you're going to see some Sean Tucker this game. Um, I don't know. I'm hoping Bucky can really break out, but I mean, like I said, I'm not putting all my stock into him yet. He's a rookie. I seen this with Cadillac Williams. Not saying
Yeah.
he's Cadillac, but I really like Bucky. But I'm not going to sit here and say, "Hey, he's the next work done. He's the next, whatever," because I've seen one game against a decent defense. A decent. I thought they were better than that. Apparently not.
I would say they were probably a
So
below average defense.
Yeah.
yeah, I thought they were better.
Their front four is their strength, and that's why I do have a confidence that the Bucs, yeah, overall their defense is below average, but their front four is still a stellar group with Payne and all those guys. Those guys were still getting penetration, so we have to give them their credit. But yes, we know outside of that, Commanders don't have anything on defense.
No.
That shit, it looked like they benched Forbes, I think.
Yeah.
How bad he was. But I'm gonna get these guys. I'm gonna give you the last segment, and then we got the last say, and then we'll put this bad boy to rest. But so win or lose, Louis, what do you want to see from the Bucs overall as a team?
just growth. Continue to grow. Continue to grow into that three-headed monster at running back. Continue to grow to becoming a juggernaut with the wide receivers, and just continue to be creative. That's what they have to be. Because for a while now, we've seen a very stale offense from the Bucs, and the 37 points I think it was that they put up this week, that was amazing. You know, that's what they did to the Washington Redskins or Commanders, whatever they're going by. Um, that's what you do to bad teams when you're a good team. You know, you put your foot on their throat and you don't let up, like Keyshawn said in that 2002 documentary. That's what you do to those teams. You know, you you just put them out. Now, last year when they were playing the Panthers and they only put up 9, I was concerned. I'm like, "Really? The
Yeah.
Panthers? Like, this is scary. Like, this shouldn't be happening. I don't care if this is a division game. They're like a high school team compared to the Bucs at this point." But they did something special, man. They put up 37 points in a home opener. When was the last time you guys seen that? So what that shows to me is that this offense can put up some points against a really bad team versus last year when they couldn't really put up points. They couldn't get a running game. So I'm curious to see what happens. For me, it's just continue growing and everybody on that team continuing to be the ultimate team player. Guys like Tyke and all, like just playing all over the place. Just help your brother out. That's it. And if they continue doing that, we can see a Super Bowl maybe this year. Maybe.
I love it. I love it. How about you, old salty buck?
I mean, I got two pieces, so I'll give you one on offense and one on defense.
Yes, sir.
Defense is pretty easy, right? Next man up mentality. Like when you have injuries like that, you have to have a next man up mentality. Let's see how well Bowles will hide some of the weaknesses now, and what scheme he dials up to confuse Goff and let Goff deal with the front four and hopefully get some pressure. So it's really next man up and for the defense. And then on the offensive side of the house, I was disappointed in the run game last week. I don't want to be disappointed in the run game this week. So I need to see some improvement from White running the ball. I need to see a second game of Bucky doing the same thing so we see some consistency. I mean, Kyrie Williams had 18 attempts for 50 yards for a 2.8 yards per average. So he didn't perform that great against this Detroit team. So it's definitely going to be a challenge. But if we can weather the storm with the next man up mentality and we can get a run game established, it'll go a long way to making a playoff and championship run.
My man. Thank you both for that. Yeah, same here. Offense, creativity, defense, tenacity. You can't bullshit. JTS is going to have to play out of his mind. Louis said it before. You're going to have an 11 to 12 sack season to be taken serious. So that's all I need. And if we do lose, I think Louis said it best, growth. I just want them to say, oh, okay, like we did when we on the Super Bowl run against the Chiefs. Oh, so this is what they're going to do. I want Bowles to go, all right, I got something for their ass on this one. Ooh, okay. I'm going to write that down. But I will let you guys go. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys as always. Louis, tell people where they can find you and what you have planned.
All right, guys, you guys can find me mostly on Instagram. It's where I do a lot of the reels and all that stuff and promoting everything for the show. It's the Frozen Pirate Podcast on Instagram. We're also on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, the Frozen Pirate Pod. We have a show coming out tomorrow. It's called Around the NFL. We're basically taking a lot of the top news, Tyreek Hill, the Cleveland Browns. We got top news. We got rookie radar. We're going to help you put a parlay together to win some money because I won $400 on a $50 bet, man. So I feel like a king right now. But we're going to help you put a parlay together. We're going to do our week 2 pick'ems. And we didn't talk about it on this show, but we definitely will be talking about the situation that Uncle Shay Shay had early. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but we're definitely going to be covering that on Around the NFL. That's going to be on YouTube Live at 6:40. I'm going to share the link on my Instagram page and on my X page or Twitter. I don't like saying X. It sounds kind of weird. On the Twitter page. And of course, you can always find me here at Bleacher Report. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that came on the show today. It was an honor. You guys as well. AJ, as always, you owe me a show. Nah, I'm just kidding, brother. As always, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And like I said, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Frozen Pirate Podcast. Peace. Fire those cannons. Let's go, Bucs.
Let's go Bucks. My
Hell yeah.
man. Thanks a lot, Louis. Check him out, guys. Always cool as usual. And how about you, Old Salty? Where can they find you at? And if you got anything, if you got another article coming out soon.
You can find me on Bucs Report and on Twitter or X. I'm in the same boat, man. I don't know what the hell to call it. At Old Salty Buck. Right now, just digging through stats, man. I'm a big stats head. I like the numbers games on the side of the to do my analysis with. So, just picking through some stats. Maybe I'll come up here with something. Going through Cohen's previous stints as offensive coordinators all over the place and kind of seeing what his tendencies are. So I might have something on that here shortly too.
My man. Well, Old Salty Buck, it's always a pleasure, man. We'll be catching a game together.
I'll be back week 5. So I'll come down there and see you on week 5.
My man. I'm all for it. Go Bucks, man. Take care of yourself.
Go Bucks. Later, brother.
Later, my man. As always, guys, I would like to say thank you for those guys for being on the show. They're awesome. They're excellent. They're awesome. They're cool. It's nothing better than Buck Talk. So, as always, guys, thank you for your time, Buck fans. You can always check my YouTube channel out. It's about Buck in Time. If you don't know what it is, you cannot miss it. Here is that is the logo for the show. Also, I'm going to be giving out free shirts soon if you have certain questions. So keep me posted. And also, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that as well. If you check out the link, you can get that outfit merchandise. My motto is turn up in style. But as always, I want to thank you guys for your time. I'll be on my TikTok live on Monday evening. As always, guys, go Bucks. Have a hell of an evening.